A lot of football players we see out there today are loaded with cash. They have great salaries, have the best cars, and they rub shoulders with the most influential people around. The game has become a lucrative business thanks to its global following and the willingness of broadcasters and sponsors to throw money on the clubs in order to meet their own targets. However, not many players are able to realize their dream of making it big in the game, but a lot of these players who do that come from very humble backgrounds and have stories that can be sad and heartwarming at the same time. So today, we decided to discuss the stories of a few football players who struggled through life before Lady Luck shone on them. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be the main topic of discussion, but there's a few other stories that are equally as good. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon in order to stay notified on all things football. Now 30, Victor Moses is currently playing for Russian Premier League giants Spartak Moscow. The Nigerian international is one of the richest players in the country, but life dealt him a very cruel card when he was only 11. His father was a Christian pastor in Kaduna, and his mother Josephine helped her husband around. During violent religious rout, both his parents were murdered. A young Moses was given the news when he was playing football on the street. Moses was also a target of the attack, and he was hidden by his friends for a week. Later on, the youngster was sent to England, where he was eventually discovered by scouts from Crystal Palace. Moses was enrolled in the club's academy, where he proved himself to be one of the most exciting youth players in London. Now though, Moses plays with the knowledge that his parents are watching over him and are proud of what their son has achieved in spite of such testing circumstances that no one deserves to grow up in. If you look at N'Golo Kante, you'll struggle to find a more humble player on the pitch. The French international isn't one of those players who goes wild while celebrating a goal or a win, and he'll always keep his feet stuck firmly on the ground. His parents were immigrants from Mali, and Kante was only 4 when his father passed away. Knowing that he had to support his mother, the youngster would start collecting garbage within his locality. He would walk long distances around eastern Paris in order to find valuable waste that he could sell to recycling firms for quick cash. He even collected trash during the 1998 World Cup, where fans would leave litter lying around inside Stade de France. Eventually though, he was spotted by local coaches who helped him develop his obvious skill, and since then, the 30-year-old has not looked back. Now a World Cup winner with France, Kante's story might be humble, but the man himself should duly be considered as one of the legends of the modern game. While he might not appear to be the most humble man around, life wasn't easy for Zlatan Ibrahimovic when he was growing up on the streets of Malmö. The big Swede's father was an alcoholic and rarely contributed to the household. This left Zlatan to fend for himself and his siblings. Being an immigrant meant that Zlatan did not have a lot of opportunities to make decent money, so he resorted to picking pockets and stealing bikes. The former Man United man himself admits that had he not been able to carve out a career in football, he might be serving jail time. Nonetheless, through sheer grit and perseverance, Zlatan made a name for himself in football, and he's made so much money that he can even pay his debt to all those people he stole from while growing up. For those of you who accurately remember Sir Alex Ferguson's days at Manchester United, Bebe is one transfer that you'd want to forget. The great Scot had never seen him play, but decided to sign him up for £7 million. The Portuguese forward failed to shine at Old Trafford, but that didn't matter to him, given that a year and a half before moving to England, he was living in a home shelter and at times even slept on the streets. His parents abandoned him when he was a toddler, and then his grandmother dropped him at a Catholic shelter. Thankfully, he was good enough at football in order to become a professional player. He might not be the richest player on the planet or anything, but we're sure that the Rayo Vallecano man has made enough money during his time in England and Spain in order to enjoy a far more comfortable life than he was accustomed to. Now 33, Juan Cuadrado is nearing the twilight years of his playing career. When he finally decides to hang up his boots, the Colombian international will do so with the knowledge that he's made a great life for himself and his family, especially after suffering the trauma of watching his father get shot at the age of 4 while hiding under the bed in order to avoid meeting the same fate. Cuadrado grew up in Necoclí, where drug-related violence was part of daily life. Following his father's murder, He moved in with his grandmother. At the age of 13, his ability was discovered by local coaches, and after just 1 year of first-team football at Independiente Medellin, the talented winger was signed by Udinese. Since then, Cuadrado hasn't looked back and is now enjoying a lucrative career in the game. It wouldn't have been possible without some luck and talent, but then again, we have to say that the 33-year-old deserves every bit of it. Now, there are of course a lot of other stories like these, but we need to turn our attention to the man of the hour, Cristiano Ronaldo. The Manchester United man has been dominating the game ever since he arrived in the Premier League way back in 2003. The Portugal international has won a bucket load of trophies and individual honours, and he's got so much money that his next few generations can have a very lavish lifestyle without having to work for it. However, Ronaldo's beginnings were as humble and sad as they come. A boy from humble beginnings from the Madeira archipelago, Ronaldo quickly rose to fame and worked hard to cement his name in the history of the world's most popular sport. He's won 5 Champions League titles with Real Madrid and Man United and has been recognised as the world's best player 5 times. Throughout his career, Ronaldo has adapted his style of play when needed to stay on top. To maintain this level, you have to make sacrifices, he told the Mirror. At 36, he continues to bring back titles and records. He grew up in a poor neighborhood, and the house they lived in was made of blocks with a zinc roof on top. In light of the various hardships the family faced prior to Ronaldo's birth, his mother Dolores considered terminating the pregnancy. Cristiano Ronaldo's father Aveiro was also working as a kitman for CF Adorinha, Santo Antonio's soccer team in Funchal, and the young future sports star often accompanied him. It was in Adorinha that Aveiro befriended player Fernão Barros Sousa, who was a captain of the team at the time. Sousa says that Ronaldo was always trying to play with the ball every time he got the chance, and he eventually started playing for the club's junior team in 1992 at the age of 7. His abilities were quite evident from the start. At the age of 10, Ronaldo made the switch to CD Nacional, where he would have a better chance of playing for the biggest sides in the country. However, life was still not very easy, and the player's family continued to struggle to make ends meet. Ronaldo has himself revealed that there were times when they didn't have anything to eat and had to literally beg staff at McDonald's to give them something to eat. There were 2 kind-hearted souls who would feed the young forward, and the 36-year-old has never forgotten their act of kindness. During an interview with Piers Morgan, the legendary Portuguese forward informed the women that he is still looking for them and wants to thank them properly for what they did for him when he had nothing to give in return. This shows a very humble side of a player who has been called arrogant and vain by lots of people. I asked people in Portugal. They closed the McDonald's, but if this interview can help find them, I would be so happy, the football star said. I want to invite them to Turin or Lisbon to come and have dinner with me because I want to give something back. Morgan later on tweeted that they may have found Edna. When Sporting CP showed interest in signing Ronaldo, he wasn't too keen on leaving his family behind. However, his mother urged him to follow his dream, knowing that her youngest son would be the one who would turn their family's fortunes around. In Portugal, Ronaldo was homesick, and things only got worse due to constant bullying at school. Kids used to make fun of his appearance and even his Madeiran accent, which was very uncommon in mainland Portugal. Thankfully, a youth coach at Sporting made sure that Ronaldo did not feel alone and helped him get as comfortable in a new surrounding as he could. There's a little known fact about Ronaldo. While today he's quite the physical specimen, the younger version had a heart condition that needed to be taken care of. According to his mother, Ronaldo's heart was beating faster than usual when he wasn't running. Sporting's medical team examined the condition and decided to opt for a heart surgery. Doctors cauterized the area with a laser, and thankfully, the treatment went perfectly well. In fact, the treatment helped Ronaldo gain even more speed, which ended up helping him become such a fearsome winger during his time at Man United. Eventually, he was promoted to Sporting's senior side, and since then, he hasn't looked back. However, what defined Ronaldo's career in the long run was not just his ability on the ball, it was his willingness to turn around his circumstances and use the negativity around him as a source of motivation to do well and be good at what he did. And boy, did he ever make good use of it.